Hello everyone, welcome to Front Foot Official, and today with me I have got Mr. Nash, Mr. Charbel, and of course Lucas, who is our guest. I will be going back to Lucas after a few minutes. Lucas, today you have to be a bit patient because first of all we have to introduce Nash and Charbel, two fantastic hosts of the Cricblog podcast. Hope everyone is aware of it. So without delaying anything, let's move ahead. I will be asking first Charbel, then Nash, to tell their whole journey, how they started and why they chose this cricket blogging, how did their passion for this game evolved. So please let our viewers know about those things because we all know what you do, but they don't really know about your past, how it all started. Were your parents happy with what you did, or was it your own thinking or mindset? So you can go ahead. It's yours. So guys, Nash and Charbel.
So it was actually my father and my uncles that got me into cricket, because when they migrated here from overseas in the 70s, they fell in love with cricket here in Australia. So I was introduced to the game at a young age, about 8 or 9 years old, and fell in love with it pretty much straight away. I was a cricketer from the age of about 9 up until, a few years ago actually. And I was a very keen cricketer, played in the grade competition here in Sydney, but unfortunately had too many injuries. I was a pace bowler myself, too many hamstring problems, too many back problems, stress fracture in my foot as well. So I moved into blogging as a result because I had to stop playing. So I thought, what's a good way to stay involved with the game that I love so much? And it was started up Cricblog, so I can stay involved with the game and express my passion for it.
Okay, now moving on to Nash.
So I grew up, I'm born and bred in Mumbai, grew up in Mumbai all my life. So just like Charbel, I was introduced to cricket by my mom and her brothers at a very young age. I think it was 7 or 8 when I played my first game for my school in under 12s, and then it began from there. And then I sort of went on to play A division cricket in Mumbai, and then sort of age group national champs in Mumbai in India. So always played cricket, loved it, loved playing, and then sort of at the age of 19, 20 thought that now is a good time to sort of make a career out of it. So I moved on to sports management. That's when I came to Australia at the age of 20. So I've done sports management from Melbourne, and I'm now lucky enough to be working in cricket as well. So my entire life has been taken up by the sport pretty much. I absolutely love the sport, so it's only right that I do this. So I work in cricket, I play cricket, and now what better way to speak about cricket as well through the Cricblog podcast. So that's how I came across Charbel and the great work that he's doing through his podcast. And then I just approached him if he had any thoughts on doing a podcast. So and he pretty much took up the idea, and then we have been pretty much doing it since then.
Okay, you just answered my next question, but I want you to elaborate it. How did you came across Charbel? How did you know him? One of you can go ahead.
I started following him on Twitter, and as did everyone else. So that's where I came across. That's where I came across Charbel, and I think I have done some cricket writing back when I was in college in India, but I sort of due to work or whatever reason you may want to call it, I just fell out of it and then had no time with career and office work. So, and I wanted to get back into it. So I just approached him if I can do some work for his blog. And then I pitched him the idea for the podcast. He was really excited. He was really keen. The partnership pretty much began on Twitter, and then we have been doing it ever since. I think it was in March that we started and did our first episode.
That's right.
Okay, so Charbel, which is the best podcast you have recorded so far with Nash?
All
are good, but still.
Yeah. I'd say the last one actually, the one we've just done recently this week. I felt it flowed very smoothly. I feel. We're growing in confidence, and we're getting used to each other in terms of chatting on the podcast, and expressing our ideas, and it flows naturally. I think the last one, doing it a few months now, and I think we're just really getting the hang of it. I think all of them have been really good.
But especially this one may be special purely because of the lockdown, I guess.
No, yeah, probably. Look forward to cricket and talking about something else other than lockdown, to be honest. So that's a good point.
No, that's a very good source of entertainment you both are providing, especially in lockdown. We love it.
Thank you.
Absolutely. The last one was absolutely fantastic. It was completely detailed analysis. Okay. So we have got Lucas. Lucas, do you know our guests and any messages for them?
Yeah, I know Charbel. I follow him on Twitter. He's probably seen a couple of my tweets, a couple of my controversial tweets I've made as well. I'm sure he hasn't liked some of them, and he's liked some of them and hasn't liked them. But with Nash, I haven't actually met Nash. This is the first interaction that I've had with him so far, and of course it's a pleasure to meet you and talk to you and get your knowledge on cricket.
Likewise.
So thank you for joining. But no, I follow Charbel, like I said, on Twitter, and I've interacted with him a couple of times. But it's good that you managed to get him on the show. So thank you for coming on the show, Charbel.
No worries. Thank you.
But I'll start right off the bat. I won't muck around. With the T20 squad, that Australia, if they make the final of the T20 World Cup, that they're going to have to self-isolate, which puts them in doubt for the Afghanistan test. And my feelings on that is, if that's the case, then players like Hazelwood, Smith, Cummins, no way in hell are they going to play in that T20 World Cup. They just won't do that. With also limited Sheffield Shield as well. So I think they'll stay home unless they're absolutely guaranteed they won't self-isolate and won't have to do that. I see them not going anywhere. I see them staying, playing a couple of rounds of Sheffield Shield. I know most of Australia, or actually all parts of Australia, in lockdown except for where I live, Adelaide, and I think Tasmania. I think they're on restricted, but they're not in fully lockdown. So hopefully, if the Sheffield Shield season presumes and starts, I think those players will play Sheffield Shield. I doubt they'll go to the T20 World Cup. I'd like to get your two thoughts on that as well.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a decision to be made there, man, because there's barely any red ball cricket for the Aussie team in the lead up to the Ashes. There's only that Afghanistan test, and if the guys don't play in that, and they're in playing the white ball start of the World Cup, then they're not going to have any red ball cricket heading into the Ashes, and that's not ideal. So there's going to be a decision. It might come down to what the players think, because Australia, I think they want to try win the World Cup. It's the only World Cup we haven't won, the only major trophy we haven't won yet. In limited overs, we've won pretty much everything except the World Cup, the T20. So I think Cricket Australia might put it in the players' hands and say, do you want to go? Do you want to be there? Perhaps, and then see what the players' preferences are. Because you're right, some of them might choose to stay here and get some red ball cricket in them, so they're ready to go for the Ashes, because that's still the pinnacle.
Yeah, absolutely, and
and I think.
Yeah, go ahead, Nash.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, Nash. Yeah.
No, I just wanted to echo what Charbel was saying, that and even Lucas, you were absolutely on point, where they have to prioritize red ball cricket now, especially in the Ashes year. So, but again, as Charbel said, that probably Cricket Australia would put that back on. They will just handball the decision to the players that do you want to go, or do you want to practice for red ball Ashes later on? Because as we know, the whole Sheffield Shield is, the scheduling is way off charts right now, with half of it being played before the Big Bash, half after the Big Bash. So there's not much practice for the red ball players before the Ashes. So I think the decision. There is a big decision to be made, but again, the onus will be on the players. Absolutely.
Okay. We'll be talking cricket, of course. But my question to both of you: any of your podcast being appreciated by any of the cricketers, YouTubers, or journalists?
It's still in the early stages. So I know it's very much appreciated among some fans, and we've gained some traction so far in that area. I know Jared Kimber, a very, very journalist and writer. He was actually asking last week. He was looking for some good podcasts, and we put our name there. So hopefully he checks us out, and more people get to know the podcast. But yeah, look, for us, it's the love of the game. It's our passion that drives us to do it, and then naturally it'll grow because fans who believe in the same things we do, that love cricket as much as we do, they'll get on board, and it's a process. It's still the early stages, but it's the passion that's really and the love for cricket that's driving us at the moment.
Yeah, Nash,
and it's not much of a it's not a big difference, is it? Because we talk about cricket with our friends anyway. We just put a mic and a laptop in front of us and just keep talking about the sport. So it's not a big difference. It's only that you have to be conscious enough that there's a mic and a laptop and a camera in front of you. It's just like talking cricket with your friends, wherever you are, in a park, at your house, or a couple of beers. It's just the same. So it's just fun. We love the sport. We love talking about it. So why not?
Okay. Now moving on, we'll be talking some Indian cricket, and of course, I have been surrounded by a lot of Aussies, so of course there will be some talk on Australian cricket. And who better than Lucas, Charbel, and Nash? Nash, any plans of returning to India?
Not anytime soon, no. I've just started in my career working in cricket, and hopefully I get to work in cricket even more. So
absolutely, that's very good.
Let's see what happens.
Charbel told me that you also play cricket sometimes. You still play cricket?
Yeah.
Professional cricket?
Yeah, I still do. Not professional. I still do. I sort of play semi-amateur. I left playing professional cricket long back when I was in India. When I migrated to Australia, that's when I just focused on my career and then stopped. Sort of play. Obviously, I play cricket for the love of it, but not professionally anymore.
Okay. Now my question will be first answered by Charbel, then Nash, and then Lucas. Why is Australia unable to produce good spinners? Who is the spinner after Nathan Lyon?
What a good question. You've put me on the spot straight away. In terms of unable to produce a good spinner, I just think there's so much white ball cricket that the bowlers are, they're used to bowling flat and trying to keep the runs down rather than sort of bowling consistently for long periods of time. I just don't think I think the red ball season is just too interrupted at the moment. The Big Bash takes up a lot of the season, and our spin bowlers are bowling a lot of white ball stuff. That's why, you've got some potential white ball bowlers to come through in ODI cricket and T20 cricket for Australia in the coming years. But who's the red ball bowler? That's a question we have to answer. At the moment, it's Mitch Swepson. He had the best season out of any spinner last year in Sheffield Shield. But others have to put their hand up because we've seen in recent years that it's been leg spinners who've struggled in Test cricket. It's been more the finger spinners who've been doing well. So who's going to be that finger spinner in Australia? No one's really put their hand up at the moment that I know of. So it's a big season coming up. I think as well, pitches around the country are not as varied as they used to be, if that's, the right way of putting it. It used to be, you used to have spin in Sydney, bounce and pace in Perth and Brisbane. A lot of the pitches now, a lot of them are drop-in surfaces. They're very similar. So it doesn't really allow for spinners to have a say a lot in the game. So hopefully this season will be a big one because, Nathan Lyon is nearly 34 now. We're going to need a plan for after Lyon. So important.
Just going before Nash, I just want to ask you, obviously Nathan Lyon is in twilight of his career. My question is, I once saw in that ICC YouTube video or something like that, Australians are preparing a pitch out of some dust, or they were preparing a tricky pitch which suits the spin bowling. What was that about? They brought some curators, or they prepared a pitch which was pretty similar to the Asian wickets. So
how long ago was this? How long ago was that?
I think it was around 1 year, or just not 1 year, maybe more than that. Just before when they toured India, last time.
That's the last time I remember because they created it.
They created.
so they can try and get accustomed to spinning conditions and batting
Yeah.
on a spinning pitch ahead of the India tour.
Yeah.
It worked pretty well because I thought Australia were very good the last time they toured India, 2017.
Yeah.
We were right in that series and pushed India all the way. I think next year you probably find they'll do a similar sort of thing. But to go to India and perform, we're going to have to get another spinner with line. And who's that going to be? Stephen O'Keefe has retired from first-class cricket now. So, a big question for Australia to answer.
Yeah, Nash, go ahead.
And it's an interesting question because the answer is not easy to find that answer, because one thing that I remember very correctly is that a few years ago there was a trial of the Duke's ball in Australia in the Sheffield Shield because they wanted to prepare the batsmen to go play in England. But what they forgot was Duke's ball doesn't help the spinners. So I think that went on for a couple of years, and Cricket Australia found that spinners were out of the game. The spinners that actually bowled in the Sheffield Shield were like change of end bowlers, so they only bowl like 8 overs in a game or 9 overs in a game. And before even going back, after Shane Warne retired, Cricket Australia, the whole Australian cricket team was found out for like using, I think they used 6 or 7 spinners, if I'm correct, till they found Nathan Lyon in 2011. And they went through Jason Kretzer, they went through Nathan Horitz, I remember, and they went through a couple of others as well. At one point, Cameron White made his debut as a leg spinner. So and that was quite interesting because so now Cricket Australia has to learn from that mistake and prepare for the life after Nathan Lyon, because they have seen what happens if you don't prepare properly. So this is I think now next 2 years are going to be really key, because you have a couple of Asian tours where they can perfectly give opportunity to some young spinners who can produce the goods for them. And as Charbel correctly pointed out, the only one that comes to mind right now is Mitch Swepson, and it's looking dark at the moment in the spin department especially. And I absolutely love Australian fast bowling department. I have absolutely no complaints about them. They wherever they go, they will perform. That's we know that. But it's the spinners that will they have to help them. So they have to help the fast bowling department. So it's the spinners that you need to produce on a regular basis. And the other one that comes to mind who is really doing well in the white ball is Ashton Agar. But how is his red ball format? You have to find that out. How is his red ball format? Has he played any red ball cricket is the first question to answer. So it's going to be really difficult. So sorry, what's that?
That's the problem. They're not playing enough red ball.
Exactly.
Ashton Agar bowls a lot of white ball cricket, but then when you make the
that's correct.
Red ball, it's a completely different skill set.
Yeah.
You have to be smarter. You have to be more patient. Because batsmen are not going to go after you all the time. You have to prize the wicket and use, not rely on them trying to hit you out of the park and get caught on the boundary kind of thing, as you would in T20. It's very different.
That's right.
Yeah, Lucas, go ahead.
Well, to go on with what Nash said, we actually used 15 different spinners after Shane Warne, 15. We used players like Marcus North, Cameron White, who were just all-rounders that bowled spin. We used Michael Beard. Dan Kellen played one test match. He was from the Redbacks. Actually, most of them played one test match. They only given one chance. Also, the problem is expectation. Now, I'm going to bring up a play here that Charbel and Nash might not know. But since I follow the Redbacks, I pretty much know all their players. There's a player called Lloyd Pope.
Yep.
And he took a 5 for the under-19 Cricket World Cup, and every single player was saying, he's the second coming of Shane Warne because he was a leg spinner. He's the new Shane Warne. Went to the Redbacks, got absolutely smashed. Every single delivery was short and wide, and he got smacked. He's been dropped. Comes back from the team, short and wide stuff. So it's expectation. Too much pressure, and also, there's a huge difference between white and red ball cricket. Now, in that under-19 World Cup, he actually played very good. Hence the pressure, all the ridiculous comments saying, he's the next Shane Warne, blah, blah, blah. Went to the Sheffield Shield for the last 2 seasons, absolutely smashed. not just smashed by, world class domestic cricketers. Tail enders got a hold of him. The middle order got a hold of him. Just bowling absolutely putrid. It's a whole different game when you bowl white ball to red ball cricket. And Charbel makes a very good point. There's too much white ball cricket. Personally, I don't like but Charbel knows this. I don't like T20 cricket. I've made numerous tweets saying, the Big Bash is either got to go, which they won't because it takes too much money, or they got to move the season to September, which kind of it clashes with the NRL, clashes with the AFL as well. So that makes it hard to find stadiums. There's just too much white ball cricket and not enough red ball cricket. Now, if you really want to solve the problem of finding a spinner, and getting him to play in Indian conditions, well, excuse me, send him to the Ranji Trophy. We send our cricketers to the County Shield or the LV Insurance Championships, whatever it's called now. Why don't we send players to the Ranji Trophy? Now, I've done research on this. Australian players are eligible to play in the Ranji Trophy. So how come we don't send our players, and not just our bowlers, but our young inspired batsmen? Why don't we send them over for a year? So they get get used to the conditions. They get used to what it's like on spinning tracks, and when they get to India, Charbel said, we actually did pretty well in that Indian series. Well, after that Indian series, we played Bangladesh and we got embarrassed. That was an embarrassing series, absolutely embarrassing. We lost that first test, outside of Steve Smith, it's like no one even played spin before, and we lost that first test match. No matter what happened in the second test match, it was like shooting Bambi. No matter what happened in that second test match, didn't mean anything. So, and we go to Sri Lanka as well. Well, last time we played there, we lost 3-0 there, 3-0. And once again, we went to Sri Lanka, and it looks like our players never played spin before. So, why do you not send these domestic players, these players in our team, like, I'm not saying it's too late for the older players to join, obviously, but, young Gulfin players like Josh Ingles, Alex Carey, they're the next one in the cricket team. The next one going to be played after Tim Payne. Why not send them to the Ranji Trophy to get used to the conditions? So it's almost weird, and strange that, everyone complains that, they're not used to these pitches. Well, do something about it. Take action. Send them to the Ranji Trophy and let them test out these pitches. Because as Charbel said, too many drop-ins. Sydney and Brisbane are the only two true pitches left now that the whack is gone. Perth is a drop-in pitch, and they offer absolutely no spin. They offer no turn. They offer absolutely nothing except for bucket load of runs. We know what MCG pitch is like, with the debacle over there. It has gotten better in the last 2 years. But, they need to take action to get used to these batsmen in conditions, and the bowlers in conditions as well. Take action.
That's right.
Sorry, go ahead, Charbel. That was perfectly put by Lucas, because I think the action needs to be taken now, because if you need to plan for the next 10 years, for the next 15 years, the action needs to be taken now. And I'll give the best example that why there's such a focus on white ball cricket. The answer is that yes, it makes money, but also why Indian red ball team is doing so well over the last few years is because the first time an Indian youngster plays white ball is at the under-19s level, is when he's 18 or 17 years old. Until then, he doesn't play white ball cricket at an elite level. But that's not the case in Australia. Obviously, Australia has national championships that are played with white ball and not red ball, whereas Indian national champs one match lasts 3 days. It's a proper 3-day double inning, 2 innings, proper test match format. And that's all played with red ball. And that's how you develop the red ball cricketers in the country. And then they play white ball because, yes, the good thing is about the only good thing I'll say about BCCI is that they have prioritized IPL and white ball cricket in the last few years. But in the back end, at the backstage, they have perfectly structured the Ranji Trophy and perfectly structured the red ball format.
Yeah,
which is
absolutely,
actually processing and progressing the cricketers that are coming through. It's like a cycle. Now they don't need to worry about that because it's already done. Now they can focus on white ball cricket, and that's what they are doing now. Whereas Australia, it's the other way around. It's in reverse right now, and they're focusing on white ball and not much on red ball.
It's always been said that you start with a youngster. You start make sure they've got a good solid defense and a good solid team.
Exactly.
And then you
exactly
add the range of shots after that. I just feel technically we're not as strong as we used to be. We used to have great batsmen who were technically very strong, who could handle different conditions. That's why we were so successful all over the globe, including India, over the years. But it's just not the case at the moment. In terms of the spin combination, another spinner Australia might look at is someone like John Holland. I know he hasn't had success at Test level, but his experience, if they want to take him there and they feel that they need another finger spinner, he's probably the safe bet for next year in Asia, if no one else puts their hand up this year. But you all make great points about, Australia's ability to play across different conditions. That's got to be done. Something's got to be done about it.
Absolutely. Yeah, Lucas, go ahead.
Do we actually know what kind of test series it is? Is it a 3-match or 4-match series? Or is it even a 4-match?
It's a 4-match.
Okay, 4-match, okay.
Well, my next question, why... Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, I asked this question particularly why they don't have spinners, purely because we have a couple of ICC tournaments coming. UAE won T20 World Cup, and again in 2023 we have the 50-over World Cup. So my question to you is, we just now got a very good explanation by three of you why they don't produce spinners. But who do you think in all formats play good spin? Who are those players who can play good spin bowling attacks? Because Australia have to come to India. Then they have got a couple of white ball tournaments, which we all want Australia to do well. I think you shared a post in Twitter, 1998 to 2006. You shared one post. That was a fantastic Aussie team, and they won 3 World Cups in that period, if you add 2007 to it. So what is happening to them? I mean, I think not playing spin is another issue for the Australians. So they need to get rid of that also.
Yeah, of course. I mean, back then, as I was saying before, this team was not only superb in Australia, but they'd go everywhere else and win. Even in 2001, when we lost that amazing Kolkata test to India, we were on a run of about 15 or 16 test wins. We went on a similar run in the mid-2000s as well. There was a time where, we finished a series in South Africa in 2006, and then the next test match against Bangladesh started 4 days later. And yet we still won that series over there in completely different conditions, with basically the same team that was pretty much jet-lagged, and they still managed to win because they were able to jump in different conditions.
And that's an excellent point. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, just a minute. Just making a joke. Whenever there was a streak by the Australians, Indians were the one who broke it, if you remember it.
You're right. Yeah, thanks for the reminder. But that's my point. It's like we go to Africa, and then you can come back over there and completely different conditions, spin. Albeit Bangladesh weren't great back then, but still to do that. And I think if that was the case now, we wouldn't cope. We'd have players rested, or we just have players who wouldn't be able to cope with the changing conditions. So the players, I felt, were not only technically strong, but they were also very mentally strong as well. They were able to focus strongly at the task at hand. And their red ball game was so strong. At the moment, it's not the case.
And that's an excellent point, because I just want to, you can call it, I would just want to debunk a myth which is, going on the internet right now, that India is doing so well only because they have such a huge population, such a huge sample size. But if you see past teams, if you see Australia back, Australia never had a huge population, but they did extremely well in cricket. They did. As a 90s kid growing up, when I used to watch any country play against Australia, I used to feel so helpless that, you get Justin Langer out, you got Ricky Ponting coming at number 3, you got, Mark Waugh, you got Steve Waugh, you got Adam Gilchrist batting at number 7.
Complete dominance.
So it was complete domination. And So I just want to debunk that argument that it's completely wrong. That what you look at England, they have 18 county teams, 18 or 20 county teams, and I'm not saying the county. I'm not saying the county structure is strong. It's not, but that's the argument. Sorry, what's that, Charbel?
They've got one batsman in their test side averaging over 40.
Exactly. So that's not the argument. Why the Australian team was so strong was because of that killer instinct that they had. No matter what, they did not show mercy on the other team. They just went for the kill. They just went for the win. That's it. That's all they had in their mind. That we have to win from no matter what position. That's why that team was so strong. And obviously there's the captaincy of Steve Waugh, then the captaincy of Ricky Ponting that did so well. That two of the probably the greatest leaders in cricket that we have seen over the past many years. And even going back, why the West Indies team was so strong in the 70s and 80s was the leadership and the will to win from any position. They did not have a great population back then. So the whole argument around having a big population is I feel is wrong, because you have to have strong leadership in the right and the players in the right mindset to perform on the field. So why Australia hasn't done so well is because they have always stepped out on the field with the wrong mindset. They have the bowlers. You can't argue that the Australian bowling lineup is not good. It's brilliant. It's one of the best right now. At least the fast bowlers, even Nathan Lyon. I'm not arguing that Nathan Lyon is not great, but if you just look at the fast bowlers, absolutely brilliant. Let's leave out Stark for the moment. His past 12 months or 18 months have been out of form, but even then, Mitchell Stark is Mitchell Stark. He is still a great fast bowler. Pat Cummins, you can't argue. I absolutely love Pat Cummins. You can't argue that Pat Cummins is one of the greatest. He will become one of the greatest fast bowlers, hopefully 7 years down the line, barring any injuries. So what's lacking is, I don't want to go after Tim Payne, but is he the right man to lead in that situation? Yes, but I think his time is up now, and I think especially
there's a question of who leads after him.
That's I was actually coming to that, because why Tim Payne? Because there's no one else. That's the answer. And I don't feel comfortable having Manas in that position, because he's a bit amateur for that. I would love Pat Cummins, but I'm biased. I love Pat Cummins. So he's my man crush, you can say that. So I absolutely love him. You can call me biased, but I would love to see Pat Cummins in that captaincy position. And that's my pick for Pat, for captaincy for Australia.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on. I just want to ask now just a couple of questions on Indian cricket. There will be two questions I will be asking, and simultaneously Charbel, Nash, and Lucas will have their points. Why is India not winning the ICC tournaments? And do you think the split captaincy will work in India? Charbel.
Split captaincy in India, you're going to see a lot of fights on Twitter.
Yeah.
But
do you think it is necessary for a country like India? I mean, I'm talking about cricketing point of view, not about fans' point of view.
I don't think you need a split captaincy. I don't think so. I don't know why India have maybe failed in ICC tournaments before. Perhaps it's because, particularly in the white ball formats, they haven't. So in the lead up to the tournaments, they didn't answer some key questions about their team. I remember before the 2019 tournament, there was still question marks about their number 4 position. They never nailed that down, among a few other things as well. And then, they were always good in the lead up to the finals, and they couldn't quite get over the line. It could be now a mental thing, because once you lose 1 or 2 knockout games, that plays on your mind the next time. I think that might be something as well. But yeah, I think India, the key is now just to stay calm and then try get the first one over the line. And then once that happens, I think you'll see that they'll win a lot more finals after that.
Yeah, Nash.
It's an interesting question, because I don't think there's any point in having split captaincy, because I don't think it will work, because let Virat Kohli focus on batting and captaincy. Let everyone else focus on what they are already doing. Let's just keep that in mind, because you don't want to put added pressure on Rohit Sharma when his position in Test match is already might be 2 years down the line. His position in Test match, Test cricket might be in doubt, and he's focusing on captaincy. In one day, he might struggle with that. We never know, and that's why I think just keep Virat Kohli as the captain. I don't think there's anything wrong as such with the captaincy. It's just the team hasn't clicked at the right moments. As Charbel said, in 2019 World Cup, the number 4 was the issue. That was a big issue. That was a big issue. And to this day, I have not understood why it wasn't solved. India had so many chances to solve that issue prior to the tournament, but it just never happen. And even going back, we have to remember, with all these arguments about white ball captaincy, we have to remember that the few of the tournaments, the knockouts, especially in white ball, that India has lost, let's say 2014 T20, 2015 50 over World Cup, 2016 T20, the captain was MS Dhoni for these white ball tournaments, not Virat Kohli. Yeah. He came after that. So, you can't argue that MS Dhoni is not a good captain because he has lost three knockouts. Yeah. So you can argue, you can put your point forward, but you have to put your point forward with the right amount of argument.
Yeah.
So just to answer your question, I don't think split captaincy will work in India. I think the captaincy should stay as is, and then you have to have the correct balance and right people at the right batting slots to make the team work.
I agree with that. I just want to add one thing to that. The split captaincy, I don't think will work for any team in cricket, because cricket is such a game where you need a strong leader on the field with the one captain. You could have a split captain and two people have differing opinions or different views or different styles, and that'll clash. That's the last thing you want. What happens if the split captains and the two captains have completely different views or different ideas about how they want the team to play or how things run? Who has the final say? And that's when you can get into some problems. So split captaincy, I think there's no point of it.
Okay, Lucas, I expect short answers from you about this couple of questions. Lucas, you're on mute.
I think the only time a split captaincy is work is in England, because Aaron Morgan doesn't play Test match cricket. And he can't dictate opinions to Joe Root. Same with Joe Root. He doesn't play much ODI cricket. I think he's played in the Sri Lanka series. But apart from that, he doesn't really play in it every day, in and out every day. That goes with Australia. Aaron Finch stays away from the Test match team, and he captaincy's solely focused on white ball cricket. I think split captaincy works in those areas, in those areas where one player doesn't play one format and they just keep to theirs. But with India, there's too many players playing the same format. Jadeja, Kohli, Sharma, they all play the same format. Bumrah as well. It's going to divide opinions. Kohli as a captain is very egotistic. He likes being the dog. I'm saying that no disrespect. I'm saying that nice as being like a good thing. He likes being the alpha. He likes being in control. And I think Rohit Sharma, if he was the captain of the white ball team, would Rohit Sharma, would he keep his opinions away from the Test scene? Probably, but then again, would Virat Kohli keep his opinions away from the white ball scene? Probably not. So, it only works where one player only plays one format and the other player doesn't. And that's why England are so successful in white ball cricket, because, they made this plan that they want to win the World Cup. They kept the Test players mainly from it. They kept Anderson, they kept Broad away from it. They found players like Archer, that, just dominated the World Cup. Ben Stokes, they didn't want to make him captain, because he plays the Test ball, the Test match cricket. Doesn't want to get involved with Aaron Morgan. So that's why England are so successful. But a split captaincy will not work in India with those players. There's just no way in hell. It's a disaster ready to happen.
Yes. Okay, if we keep on talking cricket, then we'll be talking whole day, because we all are cricket lovers, but we have some time, we have some limitations. Okay, I will be taking questions, but my last question, this is not about cricket. My final questions to both the blog podcast hosts. What are your plans, or what new are we going to see in your podcast in the near future? And what advice are you going to give your audience, or the guys who are pursuing blogging, how to write the cricket blog? Because you have been a fantastic teacher or a mentor to those who like to pursue blogging. So first Charbel and then Nash. These couple of questions from my side. Then we'll be taking questions of the viewers. Hope this is a different type of question. You have liked the question, I guess.
Yep. So to answer your first question about what's to come on the podcast, we've got some in addition to our episodes that you see on a weekly basis. You'll also see some special feature episodes that'll come through. About every month, once every month, where we'll have one special one coming up on women's cricket, and then we'll have more of the same coming up. We've had one in the past. We've had someone on emerging cricket. We had a very special chat with Daniel Bestwick from emerging cricket to talk about associate nations and about the world of associate cricket and what can be done to help globalise cricket a lot more. So you'll see that. You'll see Nash and I really engaging with the fans, making sure that the fans are sending through their questions and making sure that they're engaging with the podcast. And we plan to do a bit of work on YouTube as well. So Cricblog TV is the channel, and we'll do some work around there as well. That's in the works. So we want to, engage the fans. We really want to chat about the big issues in the game, but go beyond just what's happening in cricket at the moment, but also talk about the bigger issues as well. We love cricket and we're very involved in it, and we want to make sure that we cover it really, really well. In terms of blogging, the main advice I've got for fans is blogging is a patience game, but if you're really passionate about it, doesn't matter where you start from. Start from anywhere. I started with a free blogger site a few years ago. It was a free site. It was very simple. I set up a Twitter account and then just started interacting with fans, put my views out there and got people to read blogs. The thing with blog, if you're passionate about it and this is where you want to be and you've got a vision for it, it can be really, really, really rewarding. It can be really rewarding. So my advice for fans is never, ever, ever be scared to know that you've got improvement in writing. But with writing, beauty about it is you can always improve. And with practice, you become a good writer. So, if you start with, like I did, 0 audience, 0 views, which is where everyone starts, don't be discouraged if the early days are a bit slow, because that's how it is. But if
well said.
Passion for it and the vision for it, then there's nothing going to stop you. So that's the key advice to fans. Never be scared to keep improving.
Okay, Nash, your take on it.
I won't talk about blogging because with Charbel, he's the real legend of it. So I won't touch on that. But in terms of what's to come on the podcast is obviously, as Charbel said, there's a lot of special features coming up, and hopefully right now we are doing it from 2 different cities in Australia, but hopefully we will be in one city and we'll be in one studio face to face doing it. So that'll be really fun, and getting engaging with the audience on YouTube as well, trying to get listeners and subscribers on YouTube will be the next step.
Okay. So we'll be taking questions. First of all, Arnab Burma is here with us. Okay, happy birthday, Arnab. Today is your birthday. So I wish the whole team who is with me, Charbel and Lucas and Nash, wish him a very happy birthday. He is having a YouTube channel, just 12 years old. You need to check it out. He is absolutely fantastic, absolutely a great, and he also follows you. So thank you, Arnab, for coming in. Okay, he is ask everyone who is their favorite cricketer. Okay, first Charbel.
Is this current cricketer right now?
No, all time. You can say all time. I think he's asking all time.
Okay, if I had to pick all time, from an Australian perspective, I just loved Steve Waugh. He was just about to finish up his career when I started really getting into cricket, and he was just outstanding. And then seeing how he performed, you look back at the 90s, I don't think there was any batsman averaging 50, because it was such a bowler-dominated decade. But he was the one who was just outstanding, and he stood up to the West Indies. I know his battles with Curtly Ambrose were amazing. In terms of a bowler, it's actually Dale Steyn from South Africa. He was just unbelievable, and I tried to copy his action when I played, and he was just perfect. The way he would produce no matter the conditions, he would swing the ball conventionally at pace in at home and in Australia and in New Zealand and these places, but then he'd go to Asia as well and still strike at an incredible strike rate even in Asian conditions. So those two right up there with my favourite ever cricketers at the moment. It's Pat Cummins.
Okay, Nash, yours.
As a 90s kid growing up in India, obviously it has to be Sachin Tendulkar, because he was the one who was synonymous with cricket for everyone, for millions and millions in India. So, but also at the same time, I was a young leg spinner, so Shane Warne was a real role model for me. I used to copy his action, I used to copy everything, just on the field, just cricketing. I used to copy all his cricketing. Trying to copy whatever he did on the cricket field, not off the field. So let's just leave that out of the question for now. But yeah, those two cricketers were really my favorite growing up. And if you speak about current, as I said, I'm biased towards Pat Cummins, because I absolutely love what he's doing for the Australian team right now.
Okay, I think I know the answer of Lucas. I guess it's Steve Smith, but I will let him speak.
Well, of past players, obviously, my favourite all-time is Don Bradman. Even though I didn't see him play, you can't go by the GOAT. That's why he's the greatest of all time. But the player that I've seen live, past and present, Ricky Ponting, unbelievable batsman. Once in a generation batsman. And really a humbled guy off the field as well. Always willing to give his opinions about anything or everything about cricket. And everyone that talks about him literally has a nice and positive thing to say. But current, I like David Warner, I like Steve Smith. They're two of my favourites going on. Because ironic, considering I'm a bowler, and I like batsmen, but they're two of my favourite. Obviously I like Nathan Lyon. He's Gazza, cult hero in Australia. So they were currently my three favourite players going on right now for Australian perspective.
Okay. Do you guys think David Warner will play 2023 World Cup? If not, then which player can replace him?
Quick answer, yes. I see him playing in that. That could be his last tournament. But I see him playing in that. If he's fit, injury free, 100% he'll play in that tournament.
Okay, Nash.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no doubt he'll play that tournament. As Lucas said, it might be his last tournament, or we'll even see a couple of years after that. But he'll absolutely play that tournament. Yep.
Charbel, same answer.
Agree. I see Warner there. Yeah.
Okay. He should be there. Should Smith and Cummins be rested for T20 World Cup in order to keep them fresh for the Ashes? I don't think so. I will ask my viewers. Charbel?
Yeah, that goes back to the first question of the show. Might be worth, asking them how they feel. But look, I'd love them fit and firing for the Ashes.
Yeah.
I think from a 2020 perspective, maybe you can get away with not having those two, but if they're not fit and firing for those Ashes, it's going to be very hard for Australia without them.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think slightly Cummins should be in the team, but I don't think if there is no Steve Smith, there would be any problem. But again, as you said, I absolutely agree with you. Okay, Nash, your take on it?
I'll be. I think. As Charbel said, it's up to the players, but I think they absolutely need to be fit for the Ashes. And as someone who is biased towards Pat Cummins, I think I'm planning to see my first Ashes live at the ground this year, so I want to see Pat Cummins live. in action. So I'm hoping to see him at the Boxing Day test this year. So, jokes aside, I think they should absolutely be fresh for Ashes. Not saying that they should be rested for T20, but plans need to be in place beforehand to keep them fresh for the Ashes.
Okay, Lucas, your take on it?
Absolutely not. Go back to the Sheffield Shield. Pretty brutal answer there. Yeah, go back to the Sheffield Shield, get some miles into those legs, and come fit flying for the Afghanistan test and flying for the Ashes.
Yep.
Okay. Which is your favorite cricket stadium in Australia? My favorite is MCG. Gaurav Ahire says.
Yeah, for me it's MCG. I've been there plenty of times. I absolutely love the ground. It's a completely different atmosphere when I go there, and it's just absolutely brilliant. It's massive. It's almost intimidating when you step on the field and when you're high in the stands. It's obviously Charbel will have a biased opinion towards Sydney cricket ground, but for me it's Melbourne. I won't talk about the pitch, but just the ground. It's absolutely brilliant.
For me, it's Adelaide. I don't know why, but I like Adelaide.
Adelaide is stunning.
Especially I've seen those sceneries when there is sunset and the ground. I just love Adelaide. Okay, Charbel, what's yours? MCG?
SCG is very, very close to my heart because it's my hometown, home city. But going to the Adelaide Oval, beautiful, beautiful stadium. So, I'd love to go and watch cricket there more because it's stunning. It's got the combination of old and new, which they've done very well.
Lucas, yours Adelaide or something else?
Considering I only live 30 minutes from there, Adelaide all day long, I go to countless Sheffield Shield games, and it's just a magnificent stadium, especially for day night. I think that's the best possible ground to play day-night Test cricket with the sunset, with the beautiful sky, the stars at night, and it's just one of my all-time favourite grounds. I'll go there as much as possible. As Charbel said, a mix of old and new. They've kept some heritage of the ground, and while bringing in the new heritage like the scoreboard, they've kept the old scoreboard. They kept the old gum tree next to that scoreboard. It's just an absolutely fantastic stadium. Proper suburban cricket ground.
Yeah. Okay. Last question of the show, guys, and it's an interesting one from Atul Baral. Who all makes the cut in your women's Fab Four? I don't think he's talking about bowling. I guess always first they prefer batting. But again, I think he's talking about Fab Four in batting in women's.
This is a very tough one because Australia have got a number of fantastic players in their team that a number of them could be in the Fab Four. If I had to choose, I'd go Heather Knight from England. I think she's a fantastic player. And she's right up there. Even if it's not Heather Knight from England, then probably Tammy Beaumont has a good shout to be in the Fab Four as well. Sophie Eccleston is a spinner. She's top class. So England have got good cricketers. They're probably going to Heather Knight. I go from Australia. I still think Elise Perry is still our most fabulous cricketer, even though you've got the likes of Meg Lanning and the likes of Beth Mooney and Elisa Healy and these people. That's what I'm saying. The Australia team, you can have multiple players in that. But Elise Perry's still our star. I know she had a hamstring problem and she's still in, but she's still fantastic to this team.
Absolutely.
I'd even put right up there is 17-year-old from India, Shefali
Verma. Yeah.
She's a good player.
But she has a long way to go. Starting fantastic. Yeah.
You know what? I'm saying she's not far away from being right up there because the impact that she's had already.
Absolutely.
In terms of strike rates, these are strike rates you've never seen before in the women's game. That she's really going to help transform the game even further. So she's going to be fantastic. There's a couple of fantastic players from South Africa as well that have a good shout being in there as well, like Lizelle and co. But I think if I had to pick a four, Elise Perry, Heather Knight, I'd have Meg Lanning in there, and even Sophie Devine from New Zealand as my Fab Four. So
I guess both Nash and Lucas will agree with that. Almost all.
I think my Fab Four will be one Aussie would be Meg Lanning. The second Aussie would be Alice Perry. Third would be Sophie Devine from New Zealand. And actually fourth and fifth probably it's a Fab Five is Heather Knight and Mithali Raj, because I can't really divide them, because Mithali Raj has done wonderful things for Indian cricket. So, and yeah, without trying to be biased, but I think she just deserves to be there.
Lucas, same. Almost same, Lucas. Mute. You are on mute, mate.
I can't be objective to this because I don't watch women's cricket, so I have got no opinion on this.
Okay, guys. So we'll be wrapping up this show now. Let me tell you, in our description, we'll be giving the Twitter handles of both Nash and Charbel and any of their IDs. Social media handles where you can go and follow them. Also, we'll be giving some links of the Cricblog podcast, which you can go and watch. They are doing fantastic shows. You can hear them also. I just any news on YouTube channel, Charbel?
Cricblog TV is the channel, so we've got some clips on there. We plan to do more.
We'll be sharing that link in the description. Yeah. Okay, guys. Charbel was not well, but thank you so much, Charbel. You came here, and it's been a pleasure. Last words from your side, just one-liners. Charbel, did you enjoy?
That comment's going to go down well.
What was that? Sorry.
No, that's all right. Keep going. That's it.
I just want to say thank you for having us. You know, made us feel very welcome, and it was great to chat cricket with you. Thank you.
Always a pleasure talking to you, Charbel. You know, like I said, we've interacted before, so it's good to see you up and about. Sadly, you're not that well, so sorry about that on that behalf, and hope you get better.
Thanks, mate. No, feeling a lot better today. Thank you.
Okay, Nash, final take on the show.
Just thank you for inviting us, and nice to meet you, Archie. Nice to meet you, Lucas, and always a pleasure, Charbel. So, and also before I forget, happy birthday, Arnav.
Yes.
So yeah. And again, thank you for inviting. Always a pleasure talking about cricket.
Yeah, we'll be inviting you very soon again. We also love the show. Yeah, Lucas, you want to say something? Go ahead.
Yeah, and to Nash, thank you for joining. You know, it was really appreciated to hear your opinions about on these topics, and you know, really most welcome to hear them. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Okay. With this, we finish this topic, and thank you all. Do like, subscribe, and share the channel. Thank you all. Goodbye. Meet you again, guys. You can leave.